The sky was dark purple, full of stars. 3 moons watched silently as a spaceship floated above a quiet planet. Inside the ship, 4 tall figures stood near a window. They looked down at the field below. "She is no longer one of us," the oldest one said coldly. "But she is only a child." Another whispered, "No, she is broken. If we take her back, others will suffer." Down below, in the middle of a dry field, a girl lay on the ground. Her hands and feet were tied with glowing ropes. Her skin was pale blue, and her long silver hair was messy and dirty. Her eyes, full of fear, stared up at the sky. She was not from Earth. Her name was Sava. The spaceship turned, rising slowly into the stars. No one looked back. The sound of engines faded. Silence returned. Sava struggled, but the ropes only grew tighter. A strange metal machine, tall like a building, stood not far from her. Its wheels were sharp, made for cutting crops or anything in its path. The harvester had started moving. Its red lights blinked slowly, and a deep rumble filled the air. Sava blinked tears away. Her family was gone. They had left her here to die. Far away, an old farmer named Eli drove his truck down a dirt road. He was checking his fields before morning. He was tired, but his dog Milo sat beside him happily. Suddenly Milo barked. Eli slowed down. "What is it, boy?" In the distance, Eli saw something strange. A bright light had appeared in the sky a few minutes ago. Now his harvester was moving, but he hadn't turned it on. "That's not right," he muttered. Turning the truck toward it. Back in the field, Sava could feel the ground shaking. The machine was getting closer. She screamed, but no one could hear her. Her voice was small, and the wind carried it away. She closed her eyes. She was ready to die. Then, a loud honk. A truck came flying down the field. The harvester stopped suddenly. A man jumped out. He was tall, with a white beard and tired eyes. He ran to the girl. "What the hell?" Eli froze. The girl didn't look human, but she looked scared and hurt. "Hey, you okay?" he asked. Sava didn't understand the words, but she saw his face, confused but not angry. Eli cut the ropes quickly with his pocket knife. "Who did this to you?" Sava tried to speak, but only strange sounds came out. She grabbed his arm weakly and pointed to the sky. Eli looked up. "Nothing there now. Come on," he said, lifting her into his truck. Milo sniffed her curiously, then licked her hand. She smiled a little. For the first time, back at his small farmhouse, Eli placed her gently on an old bed in the barn. He gave her water and covered her with a blanket. "You're not from around here, are you?" he said, half joking. Sava said nothing. Her eyes followed every movement. Her body was shaking. Eli sighed. "Guess I'm stuck with you for now." That night, as the wind blew outside, Sava sat up. She looked around the barn, the tools, the animals, the dusty old books. Everything was strange, but it felt peaceful. She walked outside quietly. The sky above was wide and endless. She saw the stars, the same stars she once saw from her spaceship, but now they looked different. She sat down in the grass. Her eyes filled with tears again, but this time it was not only sadness. She was still alive, and someone, a stranger from another world, had saved her. Inside the house, Eli watched her from the window. He didn't understand what she was, but something told him she wasn't dangerous. He rubbed his chin. "I'll figure it out tomorrow," he whispered to himself. Far above, hidden among stars, another ship floated silently. A screen showed Sava sitting on Earth. She survived. A cold voice said. Another voice answered, "We will come back. And when we do, she dies." Night fell soft and silent on Eli's farm. The sky was a deep navy blue, full of stars that seemed to breathe. The wind had stopped. Even the crickets were quiet, as if the whole world was holding its breath. Then, a glow. A soft, slow glow came from the barn. Eli sat up in bed. Milo, the dog, was already at the door, ears up, tail still. What now? Eli muttered, pulling on his boots. He walked out slowly, shotgun in one hand, flashlight in the other. Inside the barn, it was not dark. It was beautiful. The girl. The alien, Sava, stood in the center of the room. Her eyes were closed. Her hands floated in the air. Around her, glowing symbols of light spun gently in a circle, blue, green, silver, like language made of stars. They moved like music. Eli stepped back, stunned. The hair on his arms stood up. He had never seen anything like this. Then, suddenly, her body shook, the lights faded, and she collapsed. Melo, go! Eli shouted, running forward. He caught her before she hit the ground. Her skin was cold. Her breathing was fast. Her eyes opened just a little, full of fear. Easy, easy. Eli whispered. She looked at him and blinked once. Then she whispered a word. Not English, but it sounded like home. Eli laid her back in bed, covering her with another blanket. He sat nearby in an old chair, watching her. What are you? Girl? He asked softly. She didn't answer. She was asleep, but even then, her skin glowed faintly, like moonlight trapped under water. In the morning, she was awake before him. She sat by the barn door, looking at the sky. She didn't run. She didn't hide. Eli brought her a plate of eggs and toast. She stared at it, confused. He took a bite himself, then pointed at the plate. Food, he said. She copied the word softly. Food. Her voice was light, almost like singing. Eli smiled. There you go. Over the next few days, Eli began teaching her simple words. Food, water, sky, safe. She learned fast. Smarter than anyone he'd ever met. She told him her name. Sava. She pointed to the stars one night and said, I came from there. Eli nodded. Yeah. I figured. But when he asked why she was left behind, her eyes filled with sadness. And silence. One evening, Sava found an old notebook in the barn. She opened it and began to draw strange symbols like the ones from the light. Eli watched. You writing? Your language? She nodded. Then she placed her hand on the page, closed her eyes, and the symbols glowed softly for just a moment. Eli stepped back. That ain't normal. Sava looked at him. She touched her chest. I feel, you feel. He didn't understand. She tried again. I feel you. She touched her head, then her heart. I speak in light, in feeling. Eli finally understood. She could connect through emotion. She didn't just talk with words. She talked with feelings, pure, honest, raw. That's why her people feared her. They couldn't hide their lies from her. That night, as Sava slept, Eli stood outside looking at the stars. He lit a cigarette, thinking hard. A girl from another world, strange powers, and now she was here. In his barn, what the hell have I gotten into? He whispered. But far away, high in Earth's orbit, a satellite blinked red. Inside a dark government room, a man stared at a screen. What's this? He asked. A zoomed-in image showed a faint, glowing signature in the shape of a symbol, alien in nature, captured over Eli's farm. Sir, the text said, we may have just found another one. Darkness moved, but not like wind. A small black drone flew low across the fields of Earth. It made no sound, no flash, just a faint hum, like a sleeping bee. It moved carefully, scanning every inch of soil, every strange energy signal in the air. Then, it stopped. Its sensors locked on something, a heartbeat. Not human. Deep inside the old wooden barn, a girl with silver hair stirred in her sleep. Her breath made small clouds in the cool morning air. The drone blinked once, then vanished into the sky. In a clean, quiet lab hundreds of miles away, a man in a black suit watched a screen. His face was calm, but his fingers tapped the table. "Fast, sir," the woman beside him said. "That's not a human signal. It's something else." The man nodded. "Send a scout, quietly. If it's what I think it is, Earth may not be alone anymore." Back on the farm, the day had just begun. Eli was fixing the fence, hammer in hand. His dog Milo chased birds across the grass. Inside the barn, Sava sat with a stack of books, trying to read. She pointed at pictures, saying words softly. Tree, sky, cow, barn. Eli smiled. "Not bad. You're learning fast." Sava looked up. "I want to understand. I want to stay." That stopped Eli cold. Stay? He looked at her. This strange girl from the stars, sitting barefoot in his barn, trying to become one of them. "You're not from here," he said. She smiled gently. "I know." Later that day, Eli drove into town to get supplies. He told Sava to stay hidden. No talking, no glowing, no floating. "Got it?" Sava nodded. "No glowing, no floating." He gave her a stern look, then laughed. "Yeah, that's about right." But while Eli was gone, something moved at the edge of the field. A man in black stepped out of a silent vehicle. He walked slowly, scanning the barn with strange glasses. Inside, Sava felt something. Her heart began to race. She peeked through a crack in the wall and saw the man outside. He looked official, cold, dangerous. She backed away quietly, breathing fast. Eli returned just before sunset. Milo barked wildly. "Easy, boy." Eli shouted. Sava ran to him. Someone came. "I saw." Eli's face changed. "What did they look like?" She pointed to his black shirt and dark glasses. "He looked like shadow." Eli frowned. "Government." He ran to the barn and checked everything. That's when he found it, a tiny metal object stuck to the wheel of his tractor. "What is this?" He muttered. Sava stared at it, then stepped forward. She placed her fingers gently over it. The device sparked, then stopped. She handed it to Eli. "They're watching. They will come." That night, Sava stood outside the barn, staring at the sky again. "Why me?" Eli asked, standing beside her. "Why would your own people leave you here?" She was quiet for a moment. Then she said, "My people don't feel. They think emotions are dangerous, but I feel too much." Eli looked at her. "So? They punished you for being more human than them?" Sava didn't answer. Instead, she touched her chest. "I can feel you, your worry, your kindness. It makes me strong." Eli didn't know what to say. No one had ever said something like that to him before. Later that night, in a far-off military base, the man in black opened a file. He stared at a photo of Sava. Alien female, unknown origin, emotional transmitter, possible threat, status alive. It started with a dying bird. A small bird had crashed into the barn wall. It lay in the grass, wings twisted, chest rising and falling too fast. Sava found it early in the morning. Her hands trembled as she picked it up. She sat down and cradled it gently. Then she closed her eyes. Her lips moved, but she spoke no words. A soft hum came from her throat, like a quiet song only the stars could hear. Her fingers glowed faintly, warm like sunlight on cold skin. The bird stopped shaking. Its wings stretched, and then, slowly, it flew away. Eli watched from the shadows. He had seen many strange things in his life, but never this. He stepped forward. What did you just do?" Sava looked up, her eyes glowing faintly. "It was scared. I gave it peace. Eli was speechless. You healed it? She shook her head. I changed its feeling, from fear to calm. The body listened. Inside the barn, Sava drew more symbols into the dirt. Glowing, spiraling, alive. They pulsed softly, not with power, but with emotion. Eli sat beside her, confused but curious. This is not language, she said. This is feeling. She touched one symbol. Joy, another. Hurt, another. Truth. Eli frowned. You mean you speak in emotions? She nodded. My kind do not like it. They hide their minds. I feel them anyway. Eli looked down at her drawing. So they tied you up and left you because you can feel? Yes. And your family? They feared me most. The words hit Eli like a punch in the chest. He stood up, pacing. That's not right. That's not fair. Sava looked at him with soft eyes. That's why I like you. You feel strong. That night, Sava stayed outside under the stars. She placed her hands on the ground, whispering to the earth, to the wind, to the quiet night. The animals in the barn, the horses, the dogs, even the wild deer near the fence, stood still, watching her. They weren't afraid. They felt her peace. They felt her pain. Meanwhile, far above, in a cold, dark ship beyond the clouds, a transmission plate. An alien general stood before a screen, watching Earth. The voice crackled through. Sava is alive. Her empathy levels are rising. If she bonds with a human, we will lose her forever. The general turned. Then we must destroy the bond. Burn the root before the tree grows. The next morning, Sava woke up early. She walked to the edge of the field. Something felt wrong. The wind had changed. The ground was still. Even the birds were silent. She whispered, They're near. Eli heard her from the porch. He grabbed his old rifle and came running. Who's near? She looked into the sky. My kind. Inside? The barn. They prepared. Eli handed her tools, old wires, batteries, anything he could find. Can you use this stuff? I can feel machines, she said softly. I will make something better. She sat down, hands moving fast. She combined pieces, not by logic, but by instinct, by feeling. What she made was strange. A circle of glowing metal with soft light in the center. Eli stared. What does it do? If one of them comes close. She looked at him. This will show them their own feelings. Eli raised an eyebrow. And they don't like that, huh? They fear it more than death. As the sun dipped behind the trees, a strange hum filled the air. Sava stood still. They're here. In the distance, a single alien figure appeared, tall, thin, dressed in armor that shimmered like oil. Eli raised his rifle. Stay back. The alien ignored him. Sava stepped forward. The trap, her emotional device, began to glow. Alien paused. It looked at her. For a moment, its armor flickered, and then its knees buckled. It fell to the ground. Its face showed something shocking. Grief, regret, sorrow. It looked at Sava and whispered, Your light. It hurts. Then it vanished in a flash of energy. Eli stood frozen. What the hell just happened? Sava looked at the fading light. They send assassins, but when they feel what they really are, they break. Eli nodded slowly. You're not a weapon. You're a mirror. She looked at him. That's why they fear me. But high above, the alien general watched. She's bonded with a human, he said coldly. Another officer asked, What do we do? He turned slowly. We send a harvester. It began with silence, not just the absence of sound, but a silence that felt wrong. In the skies above Earth, far beyond human eyes, clouds were shifting, but not by wind. Something enormous moved beneath them, hidden in the dark. Birds fled, animals hid. The sun dimmed, though no clouds covered it. And in a quiet control room deep in a government bunker, a red light began blinking on a dusty old console that had not lit up in 30 years. The technician stared. That can't be right. A second later, all screens turned black. Then, one word appeared, they're here. Back on the farm, Eli woke before sunrise. His chest felt tight. Milo growled softly, tail low. Sava stood outside, barefoot, her silver hair floating slightly, though the wind was still. She whispered, I feel them. Eli stepped beside her. What do you mean? She didn't answer. She just pointed to the sky. And there, for just a second, Eli saw it too. A shape, enormous, as wide as the valley, floating, almost invisible, but real. His heart dropped. That ain't a cloud. Sava's voice was flat. It's a harvester. She turned and walked into the barn. She opened the hidden trapdoor they'd built under the floorboards. Inside was the strange tech she had been working on, part machine, part light, part something else. Eli followed. What does it want? She answered without looking at him. Me, but why now? Because I chose to stay. That's what they hate most. As they prepared, a sudden deep rumble shook the ground. Far away, over the hills, a massive beam of light shot down from the sky and ripped a forest out by its roots. Eli stared in shock. They're not just here for you. They're clearing the land. They call it purging, Sava said. To erase any sign I touch this world. Eli clenched his fists. Well, they're gonna have to go through me first. Sava turned to him. Her voice was soft. You can't stop a harvester with a gun, Eli smirked. Not with one gun, but maybe with 100 cows, 5 tractors, and a very angry farmer. They got to work. Sava sent out a low pulse from her device, not to harm, but to call. Birds came first, circling above. Then dogs from nearby farms. Then wild deer. Even a bear. All moved calmly, gathering near the barn, drawn by her presence. They trust me, she said. They feel my fear, but they stay. Eli looked around. This ain't a farm anymore. It's a damn army. Meanwhile, high in the ship, the alien general watched the earth below. Harvest zone active, a soldier said. Target's energy is growing. Begin extraction. The harvester began to descend. Faster, lower, silent, deadly. Back on the ground, a shadow passed over the field. Sava looked up. They've found me. The harvester hovered above the barn. Its massive claws opened. Sava's light flickered around her skin. Eli stood beside her, holding a homemade EMP cannon they built with old tools and alien scraps. He looked terrified, but ready. You still sure about this? He asked. Sava smiled faintly. I feel your fear. Thanks, but I feel something stronger. What? Your stubbornness. The harvester dropped its first probe. It landed hard. A metal creature with long legs and scanning eyes. Milo barked and charged. Sava raised her hand. The creature froze, then turned and began to walk away. Eli's mouth dropped. What did you do? I let it feel sadness. It didn't know what to do. Suddenly, more probes dropped. 6, 10, 15. Sava's light glowed brighter. The animals around her formed a wall. Eli aimed and fired the cannon. The blast hit a probe and blew it apart. The war for the farm had begun, and high above, the alien general watched the screen flash red. Earth resists. One officer said. The general narrowed his eyes. Then we crush it. It wasn't thunder. The sound in the sky was deeper than thunder, like the growl of an ancient beast, made of steel and hate. The harvester had fully arrived. It now hovered over the valley like a god, dark and wide, its shadow swallowing the land. The air below it bent. Trees leaned back. The ground cracked. The sky changed color, a sick shade of gray-blue, but beneath it was a girl, small, barefoot, glowing, and standing beside her, dusty and angry, was a human farmer with a tool belt, a half-broken EMP launcher, and an old dog barking at the stars. Sava looked up. She didn't blink. She whispered, "You sent the blade." "I sent the truth." Inside the harvester, the command center was silent. The general stood in the middle. He watched her through the screen. "She still stands," an officer said. "With him." The general's voice was cold. "Then she has chosen her side. Begin wipeout sequence." But another voice spoke up, younger, hesitant. "Sir, if we destroy this area, we may damage the emotional code link." The general turned. "That is the point." Down below, the ground shook. The harvester dropped something new, not a probe. A projector, shaped like a falling star. It landed hard, sending out a high-pitched sound, not loud, but deep, like it was speaking. Straight into the bones. Sava screamed and fell to her knees. Eli ran to her. "What is that?" She clutched her head. "They're trying to break my bond, cut my connection to emotion. Can I shoot it?" "No, it's inside." Sava closed her eyes and began humming, soft and low. Light poured from her chest like mist. Floating upward. The harvester's screen flashed white. Inside it, the general saw something he had never seen before. Memories. Not data. Not images, but raw memory, alive and breathing. A baby Sava learning to feel laughter, to comfort a scared animal, to touch a flower and feel its joy. Then came the fear, her parents whispering, "She's too open, too sensitive. She can read us." And finally, the decision. To leave her behind. The general's jaw tightened. Eli helped Sava. "Stand. You don't have to fight them alone." "I'm not fighting," she said. "I'm showing them what they truly are." The harvester lowered a bridge. From it walked one tall figure, different from the rest. His armor was older, silver and gold, and his face looked like hers, but older. Her father. Sava stared. "You came yourself." "I had to," he said. "They are starting to believe you. You feared my gift," she said quietly. "But it was never a weapon. It was a mirror. You made your mother cry for weeks. My thoughts were no longer private. You made us feel too much." Sava's eyes glowed. "And you call that weakness?" He stepped closer. "I call it danger. You left me for dead. We gave you a chance to fade quietly. You gave me a reason to become stronger." Eli raised his weapon. "Hey, Space Dad, maybe take your ship and go." Sava gently lowered his arm. "No, let him feel it." She walked up to her father. She placed her hand on his chest. His armor sparked. Then his eyes widened. He saw everything, her years alone. Bond with the animals, her first laugh with Eli, her joy at learning the word safe, her sadness every time she remembered home. He stepped back. "No," she whispered. "Yes. You've infected yourself with them, with humans." She looked at Eli, then back at him. "No, I found what we lost." Suddenly the harvester glowed red. The general's voice came through. "Terminate her? Now." Sava's father hesitated. He looked at his daughter. He remembered her as a child. Small hands.
Bright eyes.
A gentle mind. He lowered his weapon. "I won't do it." The harvester's lights flared. A countdown began. Eli shouted, "They're going to burn the whole place down." Sava turned toward the ship. Her eyes burned white. Then let them feel Earth before they destroy it. She raised both hands. Light exploded upward, not fire, not energy, but pure emotion. Fear, hope, memory, love, guilt, everything humans feel, thrown into the sky like a flare. The harvester stopped mid-dash countdown. The machines paused. The crew inside the ship dropped their weapons, holding their heads, overwhelmed. They were not built for this. They had never felt so much. The screen inside the control room went blank. Then displayed one word: truth. Sava collapsed into Eli's arms. Harvester slowly lifted back into the clouds and was gone. The world held its breath. Not just the farm. Not just the sky. The whole planet, every city, every hill, every ocean, paused for one still moment. Above them all, the harvester had vanished. The alien warship had left. No one spoke of explosions or weapons. Instead, people talked about what they had felt. It started small. A farmer in Nebraska crying in his sleep and not knowing why. A child in Japan who dreamed of a glowing girl and woke up happy. A woman in Egypt who forgave her sister after years of silence. Across Earth, people felt something deep and strange. Something gentle. Something honest. The transmission had lasted only 3 seconds, but it had changed everything. At the edge of a field in the middle of nowhere, Eli sat on the porch, watching the sky with tired eyes. His dog Milo lay next to him. And beside them, sleeping peacefully in an old wooden chair, was Sava. No longer just a visitor. No longer just alien, but something more. When she opened her eyes, the sun was rising. The colors in the sky made her smile, not because they were new, but because now they felt like home. You okay? Eli asked, pouring coffee. Sava nodded. I feel still. He smiled. That's a good kind of quiet. She looked at him, serious now. They won't come back. Not yet. Not after what they felt. Eli sipped his coffee. And if they do, then I'll still be here, she said. And so will you. Across the world, strange meetings began. Satellites picked up alien signals, not warnings, but questions. Who is the girl? What is human emotion? How do we feel like she does? Earth's governments met in secret, but this time there was no talk of war. Just silence, wonder, possibility. They had seen something no one could explain. A girl who spoke in feelings, who stopped an alien ship not with fire, but with truth. 1 week later, a ship returned, not a harvester. It was small, white, soft curves. No weapons. It landed quietly in Eli's field. From it stepped a being in silver robes. One of Sava's kind, not a soldier. A listener. They bowed. We ask? To learn. Sava didn't answer right away. Then she stepped forward and offered her hand. That night, she sat under the stars with Eli. I was born out there, she said, pointing up. But I belong down here. He nodded. Why? She took a breath. Because up there, they taught silence. Here, I learned how to speak. Eli raised an eyebrow. You always knew how to speak. No, she said softly. I only knew how to translate. You taught me how to speak with heart. He looked at her with quiet pride. Then I guess? You're stuck here, space girl. Sava smiled. I choose Earth. In time, the world knew her story. Some called her a savior. Some called her a messenger. But Eli just called her family. EPLOGUE. 10 years later, a child stood in a classroom on Mars Colony 3. He raised his hand. Teacher, is it true that a girl once made a whole alien army cry? The teacher laughed. Yes, but she didn't do it to win a war. Then why? She did it to tell the truth.